Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. We are ready now for the 14 First Alert Weather Show at 9 p.m. Let me clear out my computer here so I can see what I'm doing. And we have, of course, milder temperatures on the way this week. So couldn't come soon enough after that frigid weekend. I'm watching your comments, by the way, on the 14 News Facebook page. So if you have questions, comments, anything you want to get off your chest, you can put it over there. And I'll check those out a little bit here in the show. Well, we finally got above freezing today, and the temperatures are actually on an uptrend. After we clear out tonight into the mid-20s, we should be looking at 50s by the middle of the week. Certainly Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday sunny. Thursday, though, we do have rain returning, and with that rain, we might even hear some thunder. But fear not, I don't think we're looking at a severe threat at all across the area. The radar is clear right now, and as we look at the wider view here, we have some clouds kind of glancing below there to the northeast, but we will remain clear overnight with southwesterly winds coming up and temperatures then gradually warming into the upper 40s tomorrow and 50s by Wednesday, despite the clouds. That southwest wind really pulling in the warm air through the day. Thursday's a different story. At that point, the cold front will be a little closer. It'll be there to trigger some scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. You can see our main line of showers should be moving through around 2:30 in the afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center is looking ahead and has outlined portions of the tri-state for at least thunder on Wednesday night, Thursday. Most of that is just general thunder. There are no severe weather outlooks anywhere around the area at this point. Now that could change, so we will have to keep an eye on things, but just based on at least what the models are showing in this time of the year, it takes a lot to really get some severe weather going, and we're just not seeing that in the cards at this time. 28 degrees outside now, and we were down to 7 this morning. That wasn't a record, but it was cold enough, and we got up to 35 this afternoon. That low temperature was, or the temperature change rather from yesterday, a big 20 degrees, so that's noticeable, of course. Our low this morning was 23 degrees colder than the typical, and our high today was still a little weak there, about 11 degrees cooler than the typical high. For December now, we've had our coldest day. That was yesterday with that miserable or measly high of 15 degrees, and today we got up to 35. Still not a lot of rain this month or liquid. We have had now 2.1 inches of snow for the season. Winter doesn't begin until the 21st of its first full day. So yeah, we're getting a little more snow than we typically would have here prior to winter. Commute, no problems tomorrow. We start cold, but we'll wind up in the mid-40s by the afternoon without too much trouble. The big picture now showing a quiet map to the east with high pressure continuing to drift out toward the Atlantic. We pick up that southwesterly wind, and that will carry temperatures on upward through Thursday. We will get a sharp drop there Friday. Once the cold front comes through, we have Arctic air that will bolt in behind it and push us back into those 30s and 20s then on Friday. It looks like a high of about 34 on Friday, right next door to a high of 56 on Thursday. And it's kind of like a tooth got knocked out there, and then we're back into the 50s over the weekend as winds shift back around to the south. Here's the rain, by the way, on Thursday. Looks like it'll be ongoing in the morning, continuing through the afternoon, and maybe a changeover or mix with some snow briefly as it pulls away there to the east. Longer range then, we get into more of a dry and quiet pattern through the weekend and at least through the start of next week, although I am seeing some rain potentially by the middle of the week, so maybe Christmas Eve as well. I don't think we're going to see a white Christmas, at least not based on how temperatures have been trending here the last several days upward. 22 tonight with clear skies. Our high tomorrow will climb to 44. And then we get into the next 7 days. 56 on Thursday will be the warmest day of the week, but it will also come with some showers and maybe thunder. And then we level out around 50 there into the weekend. Longer range, and this gets us all the way up to the end of the month, basically. Warmer than normal temperatures will continue, and drier than normal conditions too. Our pet pick tonight, this is a good one. Minnie wishes the Tri-State a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday. This came from Angie Cook, and that is a good picture. So we'll let Minnie lay there while I check your questions and see what's going on. Somebody posted a picture, what in the pet section, maybe it should have been. They were here in I think it was 2001, on a 4-H trip or something. And yeah, I look 25 years younger in that picture. It was kind of a wake-up call there. So use a little more, powder on the bags under my eyes. What am I doing here? I'm trying to get your comments and questions. All right, here we go. Here we go. You can't beat this professional smoothness here on the show, you know. Looks like everything's pre-planned and organized. All right. Tori Talbert will keep an eye for severe weather, or we'll keep the severe weather away. Yes, we are wanting to do that. I don't think severe is really in the works. I mean, I looked at the other parameters. I didn't show them on here because nothing was really impressive at all. But shear lift, instability, all those things, just negligible if none. All right, let's see. Jeff Miller has a heat wave in Saval with 31 degrees. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm sweating even thinking about it. Zach Seed says, Evansville expect to get widespread severe. No, we're not expecting any severe weather on Thursday as of today. Let's see. Paula Shaver, it's been just been thankful for the sunshine. Me too. You know, after a while, I mean, I think I even said here on the weather show, you know, I kind of like a few gray days in a row. It kind of makes you cocoon, you know, and get into projects or whatever you're doing at home. Maybe you sleep more. But then, you know, it's like enough already. We need to see the sun. And then when it comes out, you don't take it for granted. So I think the gray days, the rainy days, it's a life lesson, right? You got to go through some hard times to really, really appreciate the good stuff. Who was it that said you can only appreciate the highest mountain after you've been in the darkest valley? Somebody way smarter than me came up with that. But it's true, you know, I like that contrast. I think that's probably what makes us Midwesterners, is we like those 4 seasons. We like, you know, the harshness of winter and getting through it, that sense of accomplishment then when you come out the other side. All right. One thing we might hear this week, because we've had these drastic cold spells, will be frostquakes. And the easiest way to describe it is you're sitting at your house and all of a sudden you hear vroom, 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 but only at your house and maybe the neighbors, but it's very localized. You'll think it's thunder, you'll think it's a truck going by, you'll think it's an earthquake, when in fact it's a frostquake. And frostquakes happen basically in this way. The falling temperatures cause the underground water to freeze. And remember, we've had a lot of rain recently, so the soil is somewhat wet. And you know that ice or water expands when it turns into ice. And so as that ice expands, it puts extra pressure on the soil. Well, that pressure can only go a couple of directions, right? Either out or up, because the ice below it or rock is stopping it. And so the pressure builds until the soil and rock cracks. And that cracking sound can result in loud booms or shaking. You may not actually see a crack in the soil. And generally speaking, frostquakes are harmless. They'll surprise you, though, when you hear that boom around your house. Another thing, although most of the plants have all, you know, given up and died, but if you still have some standing plants out there, you know, the stalks sometimes will develop what we call frost flowers. And those occur when you have a dead stalk. This happens to be a corn plant, but it can be any, you know, tubey kind of or fibrous kind of stalk. And what happens is the capillary action or osmosis, they're still pulling water up from under the ground. And so if that then comes up and the air around it is below freezing, same thing happens. The water freezes, expands, and begins to seep out of cracks that develop in that fibrous stem. And so it looks kind of like this. And remember, this is happening, it's almost like a, what am I trying, like a pasta machine, if you've ever made that, or Play-Doh, you know, you put it in and it comes out. Well, the same principle applies here to water coming up and freezing, and then it continues to come out and freeze. And sometimes these frost flowers can take on very pretty appearances. But as I said, the mechanics are the same, where you have water being still drawn up by the plant and then coming in contact with that freezing air and expanding and freezing. And it works best, by the way, when you don't have a lot of wind out there, or just enough to keep that moisture moving out and then freezing on top of itself. So frost flowers and frost quakes, couple newbies there for you this evening. Jared Verwain says Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas, Jared. I appreciate that. And I think all of our questions are answered there, so we will gavel the meeting to a close, and I'll see you on 14 News at 10, and of course back here tomorrow night on the stream show at 9 o'clock. I appreciate you watching tonight, and every night please stay safe. We'll see you on 14 News at 10.